Have you ever been asked to prove you're sober at wine communion? The usher's hand on my shoulder was gentle but firm. Rosalind, could you step aside for a moment? Gregory whispered as the communion line moved forward without me. 300 congregants were about to watch me get pulled from the queue like a security risk at an airport. I'd been sober for 7 months. Everyone at Riverside Methodist knew this because I'd stood up during testimony service and ugly cried through my story. How I'd lost my nursing license after stealing fentanyl. How my daughter Naomi had found me unconscious on our bathroom floor. How God and rehab had saved me, in that order. Now Gregory was leading me to the small room behind the sanctuary where they counted offerings. Pastor Dimitri was waiting, along with Eleanor from the church board. She clutched her purse like I might snatch it. We need to discuss your participation in communion, Dimitri said carefully. Some members have expressed concern about you consuming wine in your condition. My condition? The word came out sharper than intended. Your recovery, Eleanor clarified. Perhaps it would be better if you abstained, or we could arrange for grape juice. You offer wine and grape juice. I choose juice every time, I said. Haven't I been taking grape juice? They exchanged glances. Gregory cleared his throat. There's been some confusion. The Hartley family saw you at Vintner's restaurant last week. You were holding a wine glass. The Hartley family, who hadn't spoken to me since my arrest, made the paper. It was cranberry juice, I said. My sister's engagement dinner. I can't control what glass restaurants use. Of course, Dimitri said. But you understand our position. The church has liability concerns. Liability concerns? I laughed, but it came out bitter. You think I'm going to relapse from communion wine and sue the church? We just think, Eleanor said, that it might be better if you could provide some kind of verification. Perhaps a note from your sponsor? The room went silent. I felt something crack inside me. Not like the breaking that led me to recovery, but like a breaking open. You want me to prove I'm sober enough for communion? I asked. Should I pee in a cup, blow into a breathalyzer, maybe wear a scarlet A for addict? Nobody's saying that, Dimitri protested. You're saying exactly that, I shot back. I stood before this congregation and confessed everything. I've been at every service, every volunteer event, every potluck. But the moment someone sees me with a wine glass full of cranberry juice, suddenly I need documentation to receive grace. Eleanor shifted uncomfortably. We're just trying to protect you. No, I said. You're trying to protect yourselves from me. I walked out, leaving them standing there. In the sanctuary, communion was proceeding smoothly. I slipped into my pew next to Naomi, who looked at me questioningly. I shook my head. That night, I called my sponsor, Dolores. She listened, then sighed. Baby, some people will always see you as your worst moment. The question is, will you? I'm thinking of finding another church, I admitted. You could, she said. Or you could show them what recovery really looks like. The next Sunday, I arrived early. I'd written a letter and asked Dimitri if I could read it during announcement time. He reluctantly agreed. Standing at the pulpit, I unfolded the paper with shaking hands. This week, I was asked to prove I'm sober enough for communion. I thought a lot about that, about proof, about worthiness, about who gets to decide if we're clean enough for grace. The sanctuary was dead silent. Eleanor stared at her hymnal. I could show you my 7-month chit, I continued, my sponsor's phone number, my clean drug tests, but here's what I want you to know instead. Every day, I wake up and choose recovery. Every day, I'm one decision away from destroying everything I've rebuilt. That's not a weakness, that's awareness, that's strength. I looked at the Hartley family. Yes, I was holding a wine glass at Vintner's. It had cranberry juice. But even if it had been wine, even if I'd relapsed, wouldn't that be when I'd need this community most? When I'd need communion most? My voice broke. The Jesus I met in rehab doesn't require proof of worthiness. He sits with addicts and thieves and people everyone else writes off. If this church needs me to prove I deserve communion, then maybe you're not serving the Jesus I know. I sat down. The silence stretched. Then from the back, someone started clapping. Turning, I saw Beatrice, whose son died from an overdose. Then Hakeem stood, applauding. He'd lost his trucking business to alcoholism. Soon, half the congregation was. Standing, Eleanor left during the hymn, but Dimitri found me after service. I owe you an apology, he said. We let fear override grace. Would you serve communion with me next week? I almost said no. Then I saw the Hartley's teenage son, Micah, hovering nearby. He approached when Dimitri left. My brother's in rehab, he whispered. Nobody knows. But what you said, can you talk to my parents? They think he can never come back to church. That's how I became Riverside's unofficial recovery minister. No title, no pay, just me and a growing group of people in various stages of admitting their brokenness. We meet Wednesday nights. Dimitri joins us sometimes, learning what grace looks like with trembling hands and track marks, with court dates and relapses, with cranberry juice and wine glasses. Last month, Eleanor's nephew got arrested for possession. She came to our Wednesday meeting, sitting in the back, crying quietly. I brought her tissues and sat beside her. I'm sorry, she whispered, for everything. Grace doesn't require apologies, I said. Just open hands. Now I serve communion once a month. I offer the cup to everyone, wine or grape juice, no questions asked. Sometimes I see someone's hands shake as they reach for it. I smile and steady the chalice. The blood of Christ, I say, shed for you. No proof required, just presence, just the choice to reach out and receive.